Hello, I'm Jody Wolf. You're watching Expoz, December 5, 2016, and it is 12:52 a.m. in Birmingham. Topic: Black Market Dispatches, Part 2. The first part was Syrian refugee girls. Now, I'm going to pick up on a second part. It was a completely separate documentary that was all done undercover. Okay, in Lebanon, now you know where they came from. They came from Syria. They're Christian girls and young girls, but it gets sicker here because, well, you'll see in a moment. In Lebanon, like the rest of the Islamic world, conservative religious men aren't comfortable picking up women at a bar, let alone hiring a prostitute. But those who are willing to pay for sex are able to get around this rule. They use one of the most controversial parts of Lebanon's sex trade to get around this simple rule. It's a religiously sanctioned temporary marriage. Most Islamic scholars consider it a sham. These so-called marriages can be as short as 3 days and as long as months. They are set up by men who call themselves a sheikh, who arranges the sale of Syrian refugee girls to older, wealthy men. The interviewer is going undercover to meet one of these sheikh, posing as a personal assistant to a rich Egyptian businessman who is looking for a wife for his upcoming 2-week visit to Beirut. The interviewer is driven by her producer. He's posing as a guide. They park and they walk to an outdoor area where the sheiks maybe, comes to do business. They're there, and that's where you go to find them. They come up to you if you don't go up to them. So, as quickly as they walked up, so does the sheik, one of them. A very brief discussion, and then the question asked by the interviewer. She tells him, Mr. Omar will come tomorrow. When he arrives, there needs to be a girl ready for him. He said, how old does she need to be? How old does he want her to be? She said it comes down to Mr. Omar, how he feels. No problem, he said, the sheik. We have a few options for him. So they set up a meeting later that evening. The term sheik was reserved for the Arab Muslim community, but this one acts as a priest, a matchmaker, and a pimp. He will get a feel for what the client is looking for, then offer up potential brides for sale, and they must, without question, be virgins. We try to focus on girls that are quiet and conservative, girls that aren't open to the world. In other words, they don't know what the outside world is like. Mr. Omar said, I know what you're after, a girl who doesn't know much. And then the undercover said, the undercover said, so the doctor can inspect her to make sure she is a virgin. And the sheik said, whatever you ask, I will give you. She is for potential pregnancies. Sheik, how does that work? He said, you asked me if I will give you, and she is a potential pregnancy. The sheik says, I'll take care of that. You don't worry. Mr. Omar doesn't worry. He doesn't want any. So if it happens, my responsibility, we will take care of that. So we can send her away, because the interviewer asked, what are you going to do with her? And he said, well, we'll send her away. But it doesn't always go that way. She asked him to get rid of the baby, if he would get rid of the baby. And he said, yes, we will rid of it. So we talked to the girls beforehand, telling them what to say and what to do. More importantly, how to keep her husband happy. Nothing goes wrong. She, to the sheik, promises virgins with no long-term risk to the groom. So she said, well, let's talk money, roughly how much? He said around $700 per night. For the 2 weeks, it'll be about $9,000. So she said, the sheik will provide, or she was saying, the sheik will provide a virgin for 2 weeks for $9,000 and then declare the marriage null and void. The sheik will pocket $7,000 finder's fee and give the girl, the family that sold her. Keep in mind, the family sold the girl the way they do in India. The family sold her for $2,000. She, the interviewer, that night goes to meet the sheik, and he has 3 girls, all under age 18 and all virgins. Face not shown, but when you sit and look at them, you can kind of pick it out. I guessed at one of them at about 16 years old, one at 14 years old, and one at 12 years old. This is my opinion only. And the interviewer, the undercover girl, did not mention that. So she, the undercover woman, sat to talk to one-on-one with the girls and asked several questions. Would you agree to marry for 3 days to 2 weeks? Yes. You cannot leave the house? Yes. Why marry someone who will end it? And the only response the girl was allowed to give was yes. And then the undercover woman said, you're young and beautiful with a whole life before you. You still want to do this? Yes. Undercover lady said that all 3 girls were afraid and nervous, but all 3 without hesitation said yes. They were told to say that or they would be hurt. The undercover agent called off the deal, but asked, what happens when these marriages do not take place, but for 2 weeks, and then it's over? See, the girl doesn't know that. It's just that this particular interviewer asked those questions. So undercover is meeting a girl who was tricked into a 3-month marriage outside of town on a beach. And she asked about her life afterwards, what it's like. The girl said her father told her that he would get $1,000 per day that she was gone. That didn't happen. She was never told it was for 2 months. I said 3 a while ago, but I'm sorry, it is 2. And she fell in love with her husband. He had the marriage null and void and left her. Now she is 7 months pregnant. Her father took the money and never said another word. The girl was devastated, and she lives in shame. Even her family told her it was her problem now, not his. Speaking of the father, she said, in the end, he is my father, and I cannot say anything against him. The interviewer asked, well, how does it feel becoming a mother? The girl said, through her tears, I don't know. She then said, I want the best for my baby, and I will always love my baby, but he will never know I am his mother. I will register him under my father's name, and I will be his sister. This man who calls himself a sheik is a liar. He is a pimp. He took my honor from me. The Middle East, the word honor means everything, and when a person enters a sex trade, she may never reintegrate into society. It's very difficult to do so. Once you are forced into prostitution, you are seen as lower than others. It's almost impossible to find a job or to better yourself. Even if the father forced you to do this, you're still in that class of prostitutes. Even though many fled Syria, Yemen, Somalia, or any other country, the cards are always against a woman forever. Slowly, there are social programs and systems coming up to help these girls. Without this, you are in line for permanent abuse or worse. After these documentaries were learned that some of the girls left Lebanon that were interviewed by her the time before. The baby is raised by her father, and one of the girls are adopted by an American family. But the majority will not have a good future. The situation is getting worse. It's either aid or sex trade. The aid stays overwhelmed. It is up to you and I to pray for these girls. And I ask you to please do that. These are Christian Syrians that are being killed. Once the parents are dead or lost and the house is blown apart, then the girl, if not many of them live, but the ones who live, flees, and they try to stay with a crowd so that they can escape. Some do, but they enter a life of hell. Jody Wolf Expoz.